says, you save me today, I'll save you tomorrow. डाल दो पैसा और भूल जाओ. Forget about it. मेरे फादर ने कभी तो भी 1990 में कुछ शेयर खरीदे थे, आज 200 करोड़ के हो गए. So 20 years down the lane, how much do you think the corpus is going to be?
So today we have Arvind ji with us. Hello Arvind ji, good morning. How are you?
Doing good.
Nice.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning all. So Arvind ji has an extensive career in project management as well as in financial planning. Personally, when I was very startled to know that he has a very huge career in financial planning as well as in the project management, because both are something which I am really interested into and I really enjoy because both are something which interest me. So to start off with, you had or would you like to introduce yourself to start off with that ways so that some of the people would know?
Okay. So I graduated from RKNEC. At that time it was RKNEC. Now it's RCOEM. So I graduated in 2002 from industrial engineering and immediately went to US for my post-graduation. So I did my MS in OR, Operations Research, from Virginia Tech, and in parallel started working in 2003 in US. From 2003 onwards till 2011, I was working in US. And in 2011, I called it off. No more staying back in US. So I resigned and came back to India. 11 to 15, I was working with Accenture in Pune, Magarpatta. And in 2015, I decided to not to report to anyone. So I called off the job and started on my own. I founded a firm which is into corporate training. I was into project management in Accenture all those 5 years, 2011 till 15. So that project management experience, and in parallel in around 2013-14 onwards, I started as a freelancing trainer as well. And I realized that's my foray. So I got into corporate trainings, into project management as a consultant and trainer. Founded a firm with another partner in Mumbai, Pro Thought Solutions. And 2015 I founded it. We both of us got into it. I'm a co-founder, and it ran well. We passed the COVID. Everything was well. I was one of the good trainers as well. I had trained around 2,500 professionals in project management globally. Conducted 5,000 hours of training. And but in 2022, my family wanted me back into the family business, and so I had to sell my stakes. Selling the stakes, being a founder, is not easy.
I know.
So it takes years to do the transition, reverse KT and everything, shadowing and all, because it's about the vision and everything that needs to be transitioned to somebody whom you're selling. And getting money is not so easy. They squeeze you like anything. So, but eventually last year, I successfully completed the exit. And but since 2022, because I knew that it's just a matter of time, so I got full time into the family business, which I was anyways there since 2015. But then it's full time, and since then I've been into the family business, managing finances and all.
Nice. So I remember when I was doing industrial engineering, there was always this fad. I'm a 2010 pass out, and then there was always this fad between our batch to go to US and get your MS done and get your post graduation done, settle there. And I know a lot of people would agree to it, but then it is difficult to leave US and come back to India and settle back to India. What made you, or what motivated you, I would say?
So we'll talk in detail about it. So many of you probably in engineering have studied about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about human psychology and Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what attracts you to go to US, right? If your needs are taken care, you don't need to be there in US. So one of the primary reasons of going to US, two primary reasons for which people primarily go to US or Europe or Australia or Singapore, anywhere, is one, financial freedom.
Correct.
Getting money so that you can survive later on very comfortably. That's one reason. And second is quality of life, right? These are the two primary reasons why people prefer to go beyond the country, go outside and stay. Nobody prefers to go to Pakistan, right? There is a reason why. Why it's US, why it's Europe. So it's primarily one of these two reasons. If these two reasons are taken care of, there is no reason to stay in US. So I resigned from my job in 2008 as well. I wanted to come back in 2008, but my the company at that time, CSC, it's no more exists. It's taken over by HP now. But at that time, CSC. So I was a consultant. I was into sales and marketing then, getting the businesses for them in IT businesses and all. So they didn't let me go. I wanted to come back in 2008. I resigned. I took up a Cognizant offer in India, but they gave me an offer which I couldn't decline.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, let's continue for a couple of years more. So it was always in my mind that I need to come back because there was no reason for me to stay. So I gained financial freedom at the age of 37. So people try to get it till the age of 60.
Oh, right.
People are trying to do a pre-early retirement at 50, 55, right? So it's not impossible. It's up to how much you can stretch yourself to try to achieve financial freedom as early as you can. So we'll talk in detail about all the approaches.
Absolutely, because financial freedom is something which is kind of buzzword these days. Open Instagram and you will see plenty of videos. Open YouTube and then you will see a lot of tutorials. But I feel people do not understand the real depth of it, because it's not just listening to those YouTube videos or just just understanding those concepts. The toughest part is to implement them. And that's where I want to say that what motivated you to move from a very successful project management career into something which is like more financial. Since this entire conversation will be around financial planning, how to run around the financial planning, how to plan them. So can you just maybe in a couple of sentences share what made you or what motivated you to move into financial planning?
So financial planning has to be always there. It's like whether you be in engineering, you would be a doctor, you be a scientist, finance has to be something that you should know. That's the basic life skill. How do you know how to eat? It's just like that. This is one disappointment that in the Indian education system, people don't teach you in the school time about basic education. Like I had to actually respect a lot of societies, like Marwadi societies, Gujarati societies, Sindhi societies, who actually train their kids from the childhood. Means I really respect my grandfather, because he actually started investing into stock markets in 1980. Stock markets has been there for 46 years now, and we have a portfolio since last 40 years into the stock markets. You can think about it. So that vision, and I have seen my father, who is now 70, since 18 years, he has been into insurance and stock markets. So I have seen these things from day one. Since I was in school, I understand the concepts of compounding, interest multiplications, power of savings, and a lot of these type of things and how to invest, where to invest, all the different asset classes. So I didn't do any MBA for that. So this type of education is actually a basic life skill which every family has to give it to their kids. And if it's not coming out from the school, the parent should figure out how to give it to their kids. Maybe then extra classes in finance has to be done if it's not in the education system, but it's a requirement, it's a need of the day.
Agreed.
So financial thing, what you said, I shifted into finance? No, I was always into finance. Like say for example, if you talk about the first business I did, you will be surprised. My first business model was in the first year of my engineering, during the ragging days.
Okay, ragging days. That's nice.
Something I have not revealed to a lot of people. So if you talk about the memorable moments in the engineering college, I was a hostelite for all the 4 years, and I saw that as a problem as an opportunity. I was always trained to do that, right? So if you look at it, people were complaining, ragging, so much ragging, and it was an extreme form of ragging that used to happen in those days, right? So the first business model, a lot of people will actually, the seniors who actually ragged me probably will come to know today from this podcast, because I have not told to not many. My first business model was during the ragging times when I come from Bengal, West Bengal, Calcutta, and I don't smoke.
Okay.
And Bengalis don't smoke. I'm not a Bengali, but I was from Calcutta, right? So in that quota, I came into the engineering college. So a Bengali not smoking. All the Bengali seniors used to rag me because of that. Okay, and the ragging was like this: Arvind, 7 in the morning, go. Here is 1 rupees 25 paisa. Please go and get a Wills. Another one will come at 8 o'clock. Arvind, please go and get a gold flake, 1 cigarette.
Okay.
And you have to go all the way 5 minutes walking down to Savir Ki Tafri, if you remember those old people. So all the way 5 minutes down, 5 minutes up. Per person, 10 minutes every day. And not once. Probably in the evening times, they again used to send me.
Okay.
So 20-30 minutes per senior every day I used to spend just to get them the cigarettes. And I was like, this is crazy. If they are smoking 5 cigarettes a day and 1 rupees 25 paise at that time was the gold flake or else I don't remember. Why don't they bring the whole packet? It's much easier, right?
Absolutely.
Price wise also it will be costing 1 rupee rather than 1 rupee 25 paise. So if you are smoking 5 cigarettes over a period of 1 month, 1 year, how much do you save? I don't understand. So I talked to one of the colleagues, a Bengali colleague of mine, a friend of, then why don't you guys buy the whole cigarette pack? Rather, I will buy a carton. It will be much cheaper, 75 paise, because I know eventually it doesn't expire. The cigarettes can cut. And he's like, you know why we only buy 1 cigarette at a time? I'm like, why? He's like, see, if I buy the whole packet, instead of 5 cigarettes, I will smoke 7.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
1. Second, if people know I have cigarette, somebody will ask me, hey, can you give me a cigarette? I can't ask him 1 rupee. So that 1 rupee is gone. To save 25 paisa, I will eventually end up paying that 1 rupee 25 paisa and that 2 extra cigarettes that I end up smoking because it's easy, accessible to me. So these are the 2 reasons. Whenever you need it, just get it.
Okay.
1 cigarette at a time.
This is interesting.
So I'm like, okay, fine. I don't smoke, so I'll not have that urge to smoke, and nobody knows, so nobody will ask me, right? So next day I went to the Savi's Tafrees, the cigarette shop next to him. I'm like, how much it will take to buy a box? He's like, instead of 125, it will be 1 rupee. And I'm like, if I buy 3 cartons, he's like, oh, what will you do with that? I'm like, just tell me the price. And he's like, then I'll give you 60 paise, 75 paise.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, tomorrow get me the 75 paise, 3 cartons. I'll pay you upfront. I got the cartons back into my room. Nobody knows. My roommate also don't know still date. Forget about the seniors. Next day, seniors are thinking that they are ragging me. They come to me in the morning, 7 o'clock. Arvind, go get a gold slate. I'm like, Bhaiya, sit in the room. I'm bringing it in 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, opening my wardrobe, taking out 1 cigarette.
That is really
costed me 60 paise, 75 paise, and I got 1 rupee 25 paise. That 50 paise per cigarette got me 2 things. My breakfast for first year completely sponsored.
Oh, wow.
And plus, they are thinking that they are ragging me.
I'll agree to this.
So this was my first business model ever that I did. And I did it a lot of those type of businesses in Virginia Tech as well. So I'll talk about a lot of things. There is something called active income, passive income and all those things. So you need to find out ways. Giving excuses is very simple. Everybody can give excuse. But if you can try to find out an opportunity out of that, you will be in a very different league altogether because very few people get into that area.
And I remember during our industrial engineers, we had this, things related to financial planning, things related to, how to run a company, indicators that what can define what is the good health of a company and all those. For personal things also, do you think there is an indicator that a person can calibrate to understand whether his financial health is good or not? A simple indicator. I don't want to use much of my brains. I know the people who are watching this video or maybe watching this recording subsequently would have this question, that a simple question, a simple indicator which will understand or which will help me understand where I am.
So there are a couple of parameters. There are a couple of components that you need to understand before coming to the parameter here. So one is something called active income. Second is called passive income. And the third is called the lifestyle expenses.
Okay.
Now, lifestyle expenses, each of us have different, right? What I need on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis, versus how much you need to live a normal life, versus how much each one of you need will be different, right? So something which is luxury for me might be a necessity for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that also can vary, right? So you need to evaluate first. So this is called budgeting. Okay, so that is the first step in the entire financial process. So you need to evaluate what is your lifestyle expenses. You might have kids. If somebody have 2 kids, somebody have 1 kid, the lifestyle expenses will be varying because the cost on 2 kids versus 1 kid if you are married, right? So all those things will matter. So that is something. First, you need to calculate how much is your lifestyle expenses. So now coming to the
one thing. So if someone who is an unmarried person, a youngster, for him or her, the lifestyle expenses will be the rent, will be the commutation cost they are paying, and maybe certain expenses like in terms of going outside in hotel or maybe eating outside, something, managing their meals, weekend or
But
weekdays.
spending money on a cold play is not a lifestyle expense.
Okay, got it. Very important point. Spending
Yeah.
money on cold play is not
Exactly. That's the luxury.
That's a luxury. Got it.
Right. So, a lot of things. Buying iPhone, buying a 20,000 rupees phone is a lifestyle expense.
Okay.
But buying an iPhone worth 1.5 lakh rupees or 1 lakh plus is not a lifestyle expense. That's a luxury.
Okay.
The question is, can you afford it? Should you afford it?
Okay.
So that's a question. I'll come to that
Sure.
calculations later. So basic lifestyle expenses means the basic needs plus maybe a little bit of luxury, not too much. Maybe instead of a 20,000 rupees phone, you can go for a 30,000, 40,000 rupees phone. That could still be considered as a lifestyle expense. But if you say my lifestyle expense needs to include an iPhone, then believe me, you are coming from a middle class mindset. You are not coming from a rich mindset.
Okay.
I'll talk about that as well.
Sure.
So coming to the point again, first you need to evaluate your lifestyle expenses, and then you need to compare it with your active income. There are two types of income we will talk about: active income and passive income. Now, what's the difference between these two income? Active income is the income which you make by trading it with your time. You give time to something, and against it you get the money. You do job, you get the money. You do business, and because of the business, you take out some money from the business on a monthly basis because you are giving time. So taking salary from the business. So that is active money, active income, right? So active income stops when you don't trade time. If you don't give time to your salary, to your job, you will not get salary, right? So active income stops. So active income is always the primary driver here, and the primary focus for a new person who is starting his career, who is in his 20s, his primary focus should be to increase his active income. Okay, and I'll talk about how to increase the active income as well. But right now, to answer your question, first you evaluate your lifestyle expenses, and then you compare it with your active income, current active income. If your active income is more than or equal to your lifestyle expense, you are financially doing good.
Okay.
If it's equal to, you are doing okay. If it is more, active income is more, means you have some savings, then you are doing good. So that is one thing. Okay. Now, if you're only comparing it with active income and only working towards your active income, then survival is okay. You can survive throughout, but you cannot be rich. You cannot be wealthy. To create wealth, you have to have a passive income. Passive income is not the trading with time. Passive income is where your money works for you to generate more money. So if you are able to generate money out of your money, that is passive income. So you can go on a vacation and still the money is working behind you, multiplying. That is passive income. You are not giving time to it, right? So if you are able to do that, then that is the way to become wealthy. And that can only be done with the surplus funds. First, so if you talk about budgeting, the first step is evaluating how much is your lifestyle expenses. Unless you don't know where your money is going. I was surprised with one of the teenagers who just started working around teenage, early 20s, and he's like, I'm not able to save anything. 30,000 rupees, I don't know where it goes. And I'm like, okay, give me the breakup. So 15,000 rupees straightforward costs, he told. But the other 15,000, he's like, I don't know where it is going. And I'm like, so open the bank account and check. And he's like, oh, there is some charges from the bank. Oh, there is the interest from the credit card. Oh, 3,000-4,000 per year. He even didn't knew that it's getting deducted from his bank account just for nothing. I'm like, first stop that. Straight 4,000 is your savings. If you're not doing it, you're not putting in that extra effort to do a saving for yourself. And then he's saying that I don't know. 30,000 is a very normal expense. 30,000 is a good expense for a bachelor.
So one of the important things what I can understand is in order to evaluate your own financial health, you have to take certain steps. That is very clear. You have to actively look into what are your expenditures. Like personally, if you ask me, I have an Excel sheet. I write most of my major chunky monthly, I would say expenditures that would include any home loans or any kind of EMIs or any kind of SIPs. then we understand how much amount of money is left, and then we understand what we do with that money, and then you work around it. And that brings me to another question: is my income, I would say, year on year would keep increasing based on my company's appraisal if I'm working, and maybe if I'm switching, it would increase drastically. So does my lifestyle also. So my income increases, my lifestyle increases. Where do I understand that I have to maintain?
I'll give you an example. My wife has an iPhone, my son has an iPhone, my daughter has an iPhone, I don't have an iPhone.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't. It's not like I can't have an iPhone, right? When I came to you from US back in 2011, I could have bought a house right away, upfront with no EMI, upfront down payment.
Okay.
I didn't buy that. I was staying in a rent for 4 years. 2015, when I left my job, that's where also I wanted to delay a little more, but because of certain family pressure, my wife wanted, in front of wife, a lot of things don't work, right? So I had to prepone a little bit of my plans, and we ended up buying a flat. So mine is the biggest flat of Magarpatta, by the way, 5 BHK, and I don't have a loan on that.
Oh,
no EMI.
Okay.
The first car I bought was a second-hand car, which till 2 years back I was driving. And the first time I bought in my life, the first time I bought a first-hand car was 2 years back, a Grand Vitara hybrid one, and I can afford a Mercedes. It's not like I can't afford a Mercedes, but do you really need it? Now, if it's for the society status, believe me, I remember a saying from somebody that in your 20s, you do a lot of things to create a status in your society. In 30s, you realize that I don't care about what other people think about me. And in the 40s, you realize that nobody was ever thinking about you. So the guys who are in 20s should learn that, believe me, nobody cares about you, that what is your status. So don't try to flaunt and spend money to show to others, because really it's not going to take you anywhere. Okay. Rather than that, if you have a savings, a good savings and a wealth created in your bank account or somewhere in your investments, that confidence with which you will be approaching to things, that is much more than the becoming a brand factory, right? I don't wear a shoes worth 25,000. I wear a Skechers normally 6,000-7,000, a comfortable shoes. It's not like I can't afford it. But why? The question is, I would rather invest that in something which will give me crores of rupees 20 years down the lane. That gives me a confidence to take risks, to do things which I really want to do.
I would say it brings a little personal factor into it, because the more I am interacting with younger generation, their priorities to have brands, to have good clothing and invest in brands is something different. And I would say we will talk about it maybe offline. But when you say savings, by and large, in my till date career, I have understand people, very by and large, divide these things into small term goals, medium term goals, and large term goals.
Yes.
So when it comes to financial planning, financial goal setting plays a very important role.
So I'll tell you. So I started with budgeting, right? So when you talk about financial goal planning, so you need to set up the short-term goals, which is the funds that you need in the next 1 year, in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. That is the short-term goal.
Okay.
Medium term will be something that you need in 3 to 5 years time frame.
Okay.
And anything which goes beyond 5 years or 10 years plus, that's the long-term goal.
Okay.
Now, if I ask you one question, or anyone, okay, I need 2 answers. Say, for example, you suddenly got a lottery and you got 10 lakh rupees in your account. So, first, what will you do with that 10 lakh rupees?
Okay.
And second, if you go to your parents or grandparents and ask them what I should do, what will be their answer to you? That's
okay. I will answer this.
So think about it. All of you who are hearing this, just give 15 seconds to think that if you get 10 lakh rupees in your bank account, or say 5 lakh, 10 lakh, a good amount in your bank, right? First, what will you do with that? Second, you know your parents and grandparents. If you go to them, what will they suggest you should do with this?
So I've thought about this. So I feel I will take a percentage of it, maybe 50% of it. And if I have any debts, because currently I'm having a home loan, and that does influence my thought process and thinking process, I might try to repay it, because in current scenario, even paying a 7%, 7.5% rate of interest is, and avoiding that is still a kind of saving. And remaining maybe 30% or 35%, 40%, I would just put it into some good saving asset or an investment too. And remaining 20, I might buy, something which I've been longing for.
And what will your parents or grandparents would have suggested?
My parents would have suggested that nahi utha usko pura loan mein dal ke khatam kar karke.
Right?
Right.
So now, from parents' point of view, grandparents' point of view, means if I know my grandfather, I respect him a lot. He has given me a financial independence, and then I have created my own financial independence by not relying on him. Right? So, if I talk to my grandfather, he would say, buy a property,
Okay.
buy gold,
Okay.
and forget about it.
Okay.
Because it's an extra money, right? Don't worry about it. Think about it. It's तुम्हारी बेटी की शादी में काम आने वाला है.
Okay.
20 years down the lane, you might have to think about selling it, right? That's the long-term planning. So he's like, because it's, don't worry about right now. Means for us, I would not agree with him.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of information sources which I would, but even if I had a home loan, I would not pay a single paise to the home loan. I would go with a SWP. I'll talk about that, systematic withdrawal plan, or a systematic investment plan, SIP,
Okay.
which will take care of 100% of the interest I'm paying on home loan for the next 20 years. If my home loan is for 20 years, I'll do a SIP of that 10 lakhs for the next 20 years, equivalent amount for the home loan. That normally takes care of the home loan interest. So if you do the calculations, I'll come to that later in the calculation part, but SIP, SUW, I'll just do either an SIP or an SWP rather than paying off the home loan.
Okay.
That's a natural tendency. Get rid of the 7.5% interest. If you can make 15% out of it, why to get rid of 7.5%? Rather make 15% and pay 7.5% to that, and still you save 7.5%, right? So from US, when I was in US 2005, 6, 7, 8, those years, getting money on loan was very easy. After 2008, the banking system became a little stricter, right? But by then, I have completely exploited the US system.
Okay.
$100,000 I withdrew in 2005 from the US banks.
Okay.
I took loan,
Okay.
and you will be surprised, I got it at 0% loan, Citibank,
Oh.
a certain part of it. A lot of them in 0.5%, few in 1%. So on an average, $100,000 approximately, I just took it out from the US system, just simply sent it to my father.
Okay.
Whatever you want to invest, because I had confidence in it.
Okay.
And he invested in stock market. That is still invested in the stock market.
Oh.
And I didn't have the pain to pay that 0.5%, 1% there, because I know I'm making 20% here,
Okay. Correct.
or even more, right? Stock. So at that time the returns were much higher. Now it's much lesser. So just think about it. So why will you just pay off just 7.5% if you have the power to make 15% out of it? Make 15% and pay 7.5%.
But how do you classify that amount into the short term, medium term, and long
So
term?
that's the question. Normally, whenever you want to invest, whatever money you want to invest, if it's for a long term, normally see, there are a lot of questions like active investment, passive investment. Investment is never active. If you are doing active investment, it's actually trading.
Okay.
Investment is always passive. डाल दो पैसा और भूल जाओ. Forget about it. If you are opening every day, every alternate day, every week, अरे कितना हो गया portfolio मेरा, then it's not active investing. It's not investing, it's trading.
Okay.
You have heard those news, right? Where somebody realized, अरे मेरे father ने कभी तो भी 1990 में कुछ शेयर खरीदे थे, आज 200 करोड़ के हो गए. Heard that, right? Why it has been 200 crores? Because if his father would have opened every day and checked, believe me, वो 200 करोड़ होने ही नहीं देता, 50 करोड़ पे बेच के निकल जाता. Right? You never had the patience to, if you are looking every day, you will never get that power of compounding to that level.
Patience is the key.
So patience, so basically for the market, you cannot time the market. What makes you wealthy is depending upon two things. Number one, how much you invest in the market, and second, how long you can stay in the market invested. So timing, nobody can time the market. Even the experts of the experts cannot time the market. So if you try to time the market, believe me, you are going to pull out from the market, or 90% traders fail, right? Why? Because they try to time the market.
And in terms of timing the market, so now that I've understood that what can be my short term, medium term, and long term goal, considering the span of with which I would be needing back the money. How do I track it?
So first you need to create it, then you need to track. So
Agreed.
first you do the budgeting.
Okay.
Once you know where your money is actually going, then first you need to figure out where I can save. Unnecessary spending, when you do the calculation. So we have a lot of tools nowadays, Excel, AI, a lot of these things are there available using which you can analyze your expenditure and figure out that where unnecessarily your money is going. So block that and try to increase your savings first, right? And one of the things is money has an equation. Okay. So the money says, you save me today, I'll save you tomorrow.
Interesting. Okay.
If you don't save me today, don't try to get saved tomorrow.
Okay.
Very simple calculation.
Okay.
And we have all these principal interest formulas which we know, right? So amount is equal to what? It's a very simple calculation. All of us have studied in our school days, engineering days. Amount is equal to principal into 1 plus R raised to N.
Right.
R is rate of interest, N is the duration, and P is the principal. So that is the total amount, that's the wealth, right? So the wealth that you are creating is a component of three things, P, R and N. And what is exponential here in these three, P, R and N? N. Because it's raised to N. Right? So that is the power of compounding. P and R, if you increase, obviously your wealth will go up. But if you increase the time that you stay in the market, it goes exponentially. It's not literally simply one-to-one. So that is the power. So these three things, it's all about P, R and N. See, rate of interest you cannot control. The only two things that you can control is how much you invest. Sometimes that also you cannot control, because after whatever is left is what you need to. So the only thing that you can control is N. How long you can stay. When you don't. So, and that's a human, and fear. Fear is the biggest thing which people sell in the market. Because of the fear, people 100 रुपए में खरीदा, 120 में बेच दिया, 130 में फिर खरीदा, 150 में बेच दिया, 170 में खरीदा, अब उसके बाद next day 170 opened at 150. You didn't have the power to sell because you said 180 होगा तब बेचेंगे, and then it came down to 110. So happens. Why it's happening? Because you are trying to do a trading.
But these days, these N is people called, they have their control over them. And I'll quote you an example why. I was just watching one of the videos on Instagram where this very intellectual person said that this is the right time, considering the markets are going down and they are very volatile. It is the right time to rejig your profile or to re-evaluate your profile and maybe look into the investments, mutual funds, SIPs, which are not performing, and then move your asset or amount, whatever you have saved over a period of time, into certain such assets or mutual funds or SIPs which are performing. So people say these days N is also in control.
So there is a saying that if you want to drive a Rolls Royce, don't take an advice from somebody who is driving a Maruti.
Okay, I would say that.
Right? So if you want to drive a Rolls Royce, please don't take advice from somebody who is driving a Maruti. Now, somebody says that, I know at one point of time when I got into the markets first time, so one of my friends called up saying, "Arey, ek share hai RVNL, 20% return in 1 quarter, next, upfront aane wala hai, for sure." I didn't even know what is RVNL, full form of RVNL, which business it is into. I didn't know anything. Just because a good friend of mine told me, I invested. Okay? Forget about 3 months. In 2 months, it came down by 20%. And I was panicked. I'm like, यार ये क्या बोला तुमने? 20 ये तो 30% up जाने वाला है, 20% down हो गया. 50% hit on my expectation, right? And he's like, अरे, I'm also at loss. What can I do? So nobody is going to come to save you who is giving you advice if things go wrong.
Correct.
Right? So in the markets, you, me, even Warren Buffett can't time the market. If you see Warren Buffett, he's 90 today, and for the last 60 years, since 1960, he has been investing. His Berkshire Hathaway, right? Hathaway, that share is right now today is standing at $600,000 worth per share. But he has also made maximum 19.8% on his investment so far.
Wow.
So 20% से ज़्यादा उसने भी नहीं कमाया है. And he is also sitting on $200 billion cash today. If right now is the right time to enter the market, why he's sitting on the cash?
True.
Tell me about it. So you can do the research. He's sitting on a cash, a big billion, hundreds of billions dollars of cash. It means he's also seeing something coming in the future, right? Where he'll get better opportunity to invest.
Arvindji, now coming from maybe a very billionaire kind of person to a sadharan aadmi like me, or a very normal like person like me. So today, we say we are living in a world of VUCA. This is something which I had also shared it during our alumni meet also.
Right.
Things are, volatile, unpredictable, confusion is there, and ambiguity is there. I do not know whether I'll have my job tomorrow or not. Most of us are...
Exactly the point.
How do I plan for a day when, God forbid it, someone calls me up and says that, Ashwin, it's time to exit. Or maybe you have to leave the organization. This is your amount, go.
Yeah, so for anyone, whether you are in a good financial state, you are not in a good financial state, you probably are making 3 lakh rupees per month salary, or you are making 25,000 rupees per month salary. Okay, the formula, the approach to finance remains the same. Okay. I'll just give you, after some time, I'll give you a formula with which a 25,000 per month rupee earning person can retire with 100 crore corpus.
Oh, okay.
Can you imagine that? You just need to be disciplined, and that's the power of compounding I will show you. And you can note down things, you can do the calculation in the Excels, because number crunching will not lie, right? So you can do that calculation later. It's all about patience and discipline that you need to follow. Finance is very simple, right? Finance, I'm coming to your answer, but I just want to say a few things. Finance is very simple. People intentionally try to make it complex because people try to control things which are not in their control, and they don't act on things which are in their control. गवर्नमेंट बजट में क्या लाने वाले आपको पता नहीं है, उसके लिए आप एक्शन करोगे, पर आपको बजटिंग करने का, आपको सेविंग करने का आपके पास पावर है, वो आप नहीं करोगे. So what is in your hand, for sure, at least focus on that, which is sure benefit to you, right? So the first thing, coming to your answer, first step is budgeting. Once you do the budgeting, you know how. And another one before I say, so a lot of people understand savings means income minus expenses.
Okay.
So how much you earn minus your lifestyle expenses, whatever is left is your savings. This is a very normal approach, right? I say it's not right. Basically, the approach has to be whatever you are earning, 25% of that, forget about it. That has to be your savings.
Okay.
And rest is your expenses. So if you are earning 25,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees keep aside. 6,000, 6,500, whatever amount, around 25% is 6 to 6,500, right? So around 6,000 rupees keep aside. So your lifestyle expenses has to be within that 19,000 rupees. If your expenses is 1 lakh, active income is 1 lakh rupees, 75,000 is your lifestyle expenses, perfectly fine. So first thing has to be the savings. The first ownership on your income has to be by the savings.
Okay.
So first, think about it. When your income comes, salary comes, what did you first think? The EMI of the house. उसको तो पहले साइड करो. उसको तो साइड करो. बाकी के बारे में सोचो कि अब इसको कैसे इन्वेस्ट करना है. एंड जब पैसे बैंक में दिखते हैं ना, तो हमको खर्चा करने की इच्छा होती है. The money in the pocket, don't let it sit there. Agreed. So you, आपके हाथ में खुजली होने लगती है कि अरे कहाँ खर्चा करना है. So plan that. I don't like to see money in the bank account. I like to, जिस दिन आया 2 दिन के अंदर सब इधर उधर चले जाने चाहिए जहाँ जाना है. आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट में चले जानी चाहिए, आपके एसेट्स में चले जानी चाहिए, ईएमआई में चले जानी चाहिए, wherever it has to go. एकदम बेसिक इन अमाउंट should be stay in your bank. जो देख के आपको लगे यार खाने नहीं जाता हूँ, इतना ही पैसा बचा है, पूरा महीना चलाना है. It should be the approach, ideal. Now coming to the calculation, after budgeting, if you are taking out 25% savings, first thing that you have to procure is your emergency fund.
Okay.
So question, your answer. What happens if I lose my job tomorrow? You asked that, right? So there are 3 risks in your life. From a financial point of view, there are 3 risks in your life. 1, you can lose your job. 2, you can lose on your health. 3, you can lose your life. Right? So for losing the job, what you are doing is creating an emergency fund. For health, you have to have a health insurance. For life, you need to have a life insurance. right? Now, health insurance, I'm not talking about the health insurance which your company provides you, because the day you leave the job, the health insurance goes with that. You will be without health insurance, and at that time, at the age of 35, 40, if you are losing the job, and then if you go for a health insurance, the premiums will be much higher. So there has to be a parallel health insurance for you which you have taken personally. It should not be a company se mila hua hai health insurance. At least a basic one, you don't do a top up of that because top up is done by the corporate, right? You assume that way. But at least a basic health insurance, a personal one, which will take care if you lose your job. Your health risk is taken care there. So first is emergency fund. And it will not happen with your first salary. You need to plan it that over a period of couple of years, couple of months, with every paycheck, इतना amount निकाल के मैं emergency fund के लिए aside रखूंगा. इतना premium में जाता है, इतना life insurance के premium में जाता है. So you need to define all that. So that is the planning you need to do. That is a part of budgeting. After you know how much you are getting. So now the thing is, emergency fund. The question could be, how much emergency fund is good enough for you, right? So you have calculated your lifestyle expenses, right? You know how much money you need per year, per month basis, right? So normally the industry standard says 6 months to 1 year of your lifestyle expenses. That if you lose your job, minimum 6 months, you should not be worried about your lifestyle. You should be able to sustain it with that funds. But I personally suggest to make it 2 years. Because of the uncertainty, AI, a lot of these things which is coming up, and the inflation which is getting adjusted, uncertainty, global geopolitics and all, I will personally suggest keep a bit, hedge it a little more, go with a 1.5 to 2 years of emergency fund based on your lifestyle expenses. So standard, global standard says 6 months to 1 year, but it's better. See, you will have more confidence if you have more emergency fund in your bag, right? That fear in your mind that oh, सिर्फ 2 महीने बचे हैं, इसके बाद क्या होगा? You will have a bigger control over your things if you have a bigger emergency fund. An emergency fund cannot be invested in the riskier asset class. It has to be either in the FDs or gold or limited things. You cannot invest it in the stock market. I would prefer it just do an FD and forget about it. You are not trying to get a return out of it. That is just to cover your risks. So don't try to make money out of it. So that is the first step. After budgeting, first thing is you see how much is your savings, and the first thing you need to plan कि savings का कितना part आप emergency fund में डालोगे, and कितना डालने से कितने महीने में how much do you need. So in how many months your emergency fund will be all set. So that is the first thing which will take care of your job risk. And in parallel, health insurance and life insurance. Premium is not that high because a young guy who is in his 20s, the insurance premium will be very less because chances of getting ill or die is very minimal, right? So it will not be in 5 figures. It will be like 1200 rupees, 1500 rupees per month. That much at least you can give to have a peace of mind that कल को कुछ हुआ, health insurance, hospitalized हुआ, कुछ हुआ, तो I don't have to use my emergency fund there, right? So that is that. And life insurance is for not for you but for your family.
Correct.
Right? So that also has to be taken. Uska premium to it's very minimal.
I'll pause you over here.
Yeah.
So people joining online can start posting their questions onto the chat board, and we will start taking up. I have a lot of questions and I'm sure even you guys would be having there for joining online. People who are sitting here and offline will have a separate round. We can, after this online conversation, we'll any which ways have an in-depth conversation with Arvind ji, but people having an online can start putting their questions, queries on the Q&A section. I'll start taking them. Yep, sir.
Yeah, so from budgeting, we talked about emergency fund. In parallel, you need to think about both the insurances, health insurance, life insurance, and after that, if something is left, that has to go into investment. See, even emergency fund is an investment. Insurance premiums that you are paying is also investment. But people look at it as expenses. At least insurance premium, people look at it as expense. So how you look at it doesn't really matter. But eventually, after all this, if something is left, that is what you need to use to create wealth.
And this brings me to a question: is people come up with very vague statement. I want to stay comfortable life, or I want to retire comfortably, or I want a very I would say luxurious life. These are very vague statements. And why I'm saying vague, because this is something which we use these words day in day out. Like I want a comfortable life. I want a stress-free retirement, something like that. But how do you calibrate it? Dreaming something about it, and then again, like I said, putting it into the paper, putting it into the daily practices is difficult. How do you convert the vague statements into?
So let's do number crunching right away. I was thinking to give it at the end, but because you have brought it up, so you want anybody who wants a comfortable retirement, right? Let me give you 100 crore corpus at the time of retirement. Good enough? With somebody who's earning 25,000 rupees today. So everybody please note down things on a paper or Excel and do the calculations later, and I'm pretty sure the numbers will match, more or less. Okay, I'll round it up things, so you might see something. I say 100 crores, your calculations might come down to 96 crores, and I might be happily wrong if it comes out to be 110 crores, right? So that is something you can do the calculations on Excel later, but note down the calculations what I'm saying. Say for example, you started your career today with your first job as 25,000 rupees per month. Reasonable?
Fair.
3 lakh per month, a year is a very
fair.
If you're making anything above than 25,000 rupees, use it in your luxurious lifestyle.
Okay.
Buy things whatever you want. Assume that your salary is 25,000 rupees per month. Okay, and as I told you, 1/4 of that has to go into savings, right? So 25% of 25,000 is around 6,200, 300, whatever you want to take it. So 6,000 plus rupees, you take it as savings per month, right? So do a SIP of that.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that year on year, the salary will increase by 10%. Good enough? 25,000 will become 27,500 rupees in 1 year's time. So proportionately, 25% of that will also go up. 6,000 will probably become 6,500, right? So savings will accordingly increase as well. So 1/4 of the amount has to go into the savings at whatever time. So with an assumption that you start your salary with 25,000 per month and a 10% increment every year, you start doing an SIP, and I'm assuming that you are putting it into, and this is a long-term SIP. I don't want you to open this and see every day, every quarter, every week, अरे कितना बढ़ गया, कितना बढ़ गया. You don't have to. Focus on whatever you want to do except for this. आपके ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स जमीन ले देते थे कि हाँ ये मेरे बेटी की शादी के लिए लिया है, रोज उठ के देखते थे कि आज मेरी प्रॉपर्टी का प्राइस कितना बढ़ गया. पता भी नहीं होता था. They were neither interested, right? भूल जाओ. Whatever you are putting it in here, forget about it. That's what I will try to say. So every month 1/4 of the savings of your savings, put it into an SIP. Okay, and SIP means I will give you the breakup as well of the SIP. Say for example, don't buy the stocks directly because you are not a fund manager, you are not giving it full time. If you are into full time into stocks, you can do it, but I know that most of you are not into full time into stocks. So have a good fund manager, manage your funds. If they are taking a little bit, okay with it, but at least they will still give you better returns than what you can do with a part-time effort. So invest in funds. Which funds? That I'm telling you. So 70% of the funds, 6,000 rupees per month which is coming, 70% of it invest in small cap and mid cap firm. The fund managers who are invested in small cap and mid cap only. 70% into, because it's a long term thing. Okay, 70% into small cap, mid cap, which has a history of the last 40 years that any small cap, mid cap in the long run gives you around 19 to 20% return. Okay. So I'm assuming 40 years is a good enough time that the same returns will continue in the future. Okay. So 70% in small cap, mid cap. You can do 35% in each, or you break it up however. 20% in multi cap, big caps, the blue chips. Okay. 20% in the large funds, big ones. And the 10% of the leftover, you can put it in either in the sovereign gold bonds or government bonds. Those are the safer bets where the returns are not more than 12%. Right? So 12%, 15%, 19%. More or less, these are the returns that you will be getting in the long run for the next 20 years. And you are investing 25%, 1/4 of your salary in this SIP, which is a reasonable number, because I'm saying that beyond that, if you're making, use it in your luxurious lifestyle. I don't care. If you're making 1.5 lakhs and you have to invest 1 lakh, as per the calculation, 50,000 is yours, whatever you want to do. So 25,000 I'm starting as a starting thing, assuming 10% increment every year. Okay, and accordingly and I've told you 12, 15 and 19% is what you will be getting if you do a SIP here. See, some years you might get 7%, sometimes you might get negative as well, right? So that's why I'm saying don't look at it on a daily or a weekly or a quarterly basis. Just forget about it. Put it in it and keep it aside. So 20 years down the lane, how much do you think the corpus is going to be?
I'll have to run.
Okay, now another thing, this is with an assumption that your salary never crosses 5 lakhs. The day your salary crosses 5 lakhs, everything is yours.
Oh, okay.
If you're earning 6 lakhs, forget about 5 lakhs is the upper cap. Okay, with that assumption, in 20 years, the corpus will be 2.8 crores.
Okay. Wow.
At 20 years of age, if you start doing it, by 40, you will be sitting on a corpus which is 2.8 crores.
Okay.
A 25,000 rupees earning person is having a corpus of around 3 crores just by following this discipline. Give 5 more years. This 3 crores will be 8.5 crores. Another 5 years, 30 years, 20 crores. I'm assuming 5 lakh is the upper cap. If you are making more than that, it's all yours to keep. Don't put it in this. And 40 years, 100 crores.
One question on this is,
do the calculation of 40 years, it is coming down to be 100 crores.
so one question just to clarify the audience also on this is, as in why my 10% salary is increasing, my 25% investment is also increasing. So it is expected that additional 25% or whatever additional I'm earning,
Overall 25% of your salary.
okay, every year that, so SIPs and the investment team members should also get topped up year on year basis as and when your salary is also getting increased.
Only one condition which I forget to mention is this 25% will go to 30% after 10 years.
Okay. So after a
So if I'm talking about 20 years time frame, so first 10 years it has to be 25%, next 10 years has to be 30%.
Okay.
Because your lifestyle don't go beyond a certain point. अब रोटी वही खाओगे, right? But पगार आपकी ज़्यादा मिल रही है, so you will have the power to invest a little more when you are earning much more. So I'm saying that after 10 years, increase it by 5%. That is the only ask in this whole calculation.
So on this note, I guess we all have a very.
So I gave a formula.
I was about to say
A 25,000 rupees earning person can sit on a corpus of 100 crores and think about it, what you are passing it to your generations, to your kids and grandkids. I am really proud of my grandfather who did that 40 years back, and I'll not reveal my wealth, but I am among the top 1% in the country.
Nice.
Not even 1%. So,
Nice.
so my family portfolio and all, everything, assets combined. So the thing is, 40 years is a very big time, and if you see the power of compounding, the numbers that I gave, after 20 years 2.8 crores, after 10 years 8 crores, then 20 crores, and from 20 it's a big jump to 100 crores. The maximum compounding the power of compounding, the benefit that you get is at the end.
Okay.
Right? So that's the exponential. In exponentially, initially it starts, but then suddenly it goes up, right? So the last leg is where you get the maximum benefit. And the biggest disappointment is that people don't have patience to wait till the last moment.
Okay.
If you see the numbers, like I'll just give you, if you see the SIP numbers in India, very few people have benefited out of the SIP because an average Indian stays within the SIP for maximum 18 months. उनको return दिखता ही नहीं है, और and somebody who has stayed beyond 5 years, it's less than 10%. 90% has withdrawn in the first 5 years.
Arvindji, on this note, I have few questions from the audience. Let's maybe quickly take up because we have just 2 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
So first question is from Amit ji. He's saying, do we consider life and health insurance also in that 25% saving, or is it only deployed for the SIPs? The calculation which you just shared.
No, so that is an expense. So
Okay.
savings has to be for the investment, for the wealth creation.
Okay.
I told wealth creation has to be taken separately.
Okay. So the calculation does not includes the health insurance and life insurance because that is a part of expenditure. The next
Right.
question is 12% is taken to PF by 12% of the salary is already taken by the PF. Government is already taking. So basically, we're talking about the in-hand salary, right?
In hand. I'm
Okay.
talking about in hand salary. What you are getting, because what you are getting from there only you will be investing, right?
Okay. There's another thing is, can you suggest how to calculate how much one needs to spend on stuff like a car, etc. So, एक कार के पीछे एक इंसान ने कितना spend करना चाहिए?
So normally, I'll give you for all the basic ones. So normally, if you are making 1 lakh salary on your mobile phone, maximum 15% of that.
Okay.
So if you are making 1 lakh, you should not be spending more than 15,000 on your mobile phone.
Okay.
If you want to, if you are okay with a 50 crore corpus at the end, you might buy a 30,000 phone, right? I wanted to retire at the age of before 40, so I didn't even buy the car. I compromised a hell lot because I didn't wanted to wait till 50 years as well,
Correct.
right? So it's up to your personal choice. So basically, see what happens is people want to die. People don't want to die, but still they want to go to heaven. भाई मरे बिना स्वर्ग नहीं मिलता है, right? So you have to compromise somewhere if you want to go to heaven. So that's the thing you need to understand. So कहीं ना कहीं एक जनरेशन को पिसना ही पड़ती है फैमिली में to create wealth. If your forefathers have not done it, you do it so that your kids, your grandkids talk about you. They remember you. Why do we remember Dhirubhai Ambani? Why do we remember Jamsetji Tata? Think about it.
Okay.
That's a very extreme example. You may not have to go to that much, but still, at least your grandparents should be proud of you.
On this note, I would like to thank Arvind ji because I know 1 hour of this call is almost on the verge of ending. If you guys have still any questions, you can send it to me, you can send it to Kuldeep ji, you can send it to Fariha. They are also part of this one-on-one conversations. We'll try to take it up them. I would like to thank all the people joining online. Really appreciate your time and effort on a Saturday evening, 11 a.m. morning. You have spared your time. Much appreciate. We'll be looking forward for more participation in upcoming podcasts and conversations for this Connaissance Meet. We will be now opening a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions still for the offline discussion. So people here who are there physically, they will be getting to interact with Arvind ji on more and more those such conversation. Arvind ji, thank you so much for this conversation. I have so many questions lined up in my pipeline. I can't tell you, and we can keep going on this.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for dialing in. Hope that you got something out of this whole calculations. I just gave you one number crunching. I brought actually 3-4 of them, but because of the time, I'm just living with just one calculation here. So for any queries, you can reach out to me as well directly instead of them. If you have a query, answer questions for me. So I'm in the WhatsApp group as well. My message in the group yesterday you can see. So you will get my number. And thanks for dialing in, and hope that it adds value to your life. Financial life.
Thank you guys for joining.